Well, hello, class, and welcome to Church in the Community from Moody Bible Distance Learning. This is your fearless leader, Professor Jefferson, and I want to welcome you to week 3. Week 3? We're week 3? Okay, so last week you wrote a paper about pursuing justice together. Who can you work with? What can you do? How does that work, right? And so this week you're going to be turning in your Theology of Shalom paper because you've been working on that the whole time anyway. I know you have because it was assigned week 1, so I'm not going to worry about that. You didn't procrastinate because I encouraged you not to, so I'm not worried about that at all. But you are going to be doing an assignment, a paper about gestures and postures. So Crouch talks about gestures and postures, and 4 in particular. You can condemn the culture, you can critique the culture, you can consume the culture, or you can copy the culture. And what you're going to do is a 2 to 3 page paper describing instances where you have done each one of those and which one of them is your default position. And it's so easy for us, right, to think about other people besides ourselves. This is so good for us. In one of the other classes I'm teaching, we're doing a self-assessment this week, and I really want you to think through, how do you look at the world? How do you approach things? And is it necessarily right? I will tell you that I'm 49 years old, and I think I would have answered, if you had asked me to do this paper when I was a brand new Christian at 22, I probably would have written it very differently than I would at 35 and that I would even now at 49. Condemning the culture, critiquing the culture, consuming the culture, copying the culture. I think we're guilty of all 4 of those. I think that in the church, we can do all 4 of those. And what we're going to talk about in this paper is what are examples you have done, not that you have seen, that you have done, and kind of examine your own heart. How do you approach this, the gestures and postures idea? And what's your default? What's your default? I know people whose default is condemning the culture. Condemning it. Everything. Bad. Culture, bad. Not gonna do it. Okay? Culture, bad. And then you have people who critique the culture, which I know those kind of people, and all they can't even enjoy anything. They can't enjoy a movie because they're critiquing it, and then I know people who consume culture, right? And they just consume it, and you're like, hold on, man, there doesn't seem much difference between you and the world on that. You're watching stuff, ooh, I don't know if I would watch that. I don't know if I would do that. And then the copying the culture, oh my gosh, right? The copying the culture. And in particular, he talks about CCM, which, I went from Motley Crue, 7th row on Motley Crue, right? Got saved, and I was 7th row at Stryper, which, by the way, was actually a much better band than Motley Crue. But that was, and then what was crazy about Stryper was you had people in the church that condemned them, you had people in the church that critiqued them, and then you had people that copied them. And then you have people like me consuming them. So I'm rambling now, but that's a great example. So that's what you're going to do with your paper about gestures and postures. And then you're going to write a discussion board about beauty. And of course, she can't hear me, but when I think of beauty, I think of my wife, but you can collectively all say, ah. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be... in the discussion board post, discuss one assumption or idea that you had that was challenged by Jacobson. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've taught this class now 3 or 4 times, and when I first taught it, the Jacobson material was dense. I really didn't understand it. I did understand. I mean, obviously I understood it, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. And now 3 or 4 times in, I can. And I really appreciate what he's saying in this. And so what I want you to do is, in your discussion board, what really challenged you about his ideas of beauty? And I want to really ask you. I know it's not an assigned thing, but please watch the Theaster Gates video, How to Revive a Neighborhood with Imagination, Beauty, and Art. I want to eat lunch with that guy. I'm not kidding. He is an amazing guy. So I would like to be part of something like that. So watch that. That'll help you with that. Okay, so that's that. That's what we're going to do in week 3. So if you have any questions, please make sure to contact me. If you have any comments or prayer requests, let me know. The question of the week is very simple. What's your favorite book? And the Bible is a given, so don't tell me that. And I know we're moody students and we're moody people, right? So you're going to say Lord of the Rings, and you're going to say, you're going to say the trilogy, the space trilogy by C.S. Lewis, and all that's good. And if that's true, then that's true. But don't say it just because you think it's what moody students say, right? So my book, my favorite book of all time, is a trilogy actually called The Singer, the Song, and the Finale. It's called The Singer Trilogy by Calvin Miller. He was a pastor at Beeson Divinity School for years and years. It's the mythical retelling of the New Testament in verse. And I've read it probably 50 times. I cry every time I read it. I got to meet him. I got to eat lunch with him. He signed my book. Oh, it was amazing. But if you were asking me like on a more secular tone, I would say To Kill a Mockingbird. Or on a completely different thing, I would say The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a trilogy, but there's 5 books. So that's that. So if you also, I would ask you to pray. I'm in a school every single day, and as I was teaching 6th grade today, a thing came over my phone, breaking news came over my phone, another school shooting in Kentucky. And that hits really close to home with us, right? At the school, we do code reds, and we practice things like that. The SWAT team's been in and showed us things, and it's a gun-free zone, so we're kind of sitting ducks. And I feel very safe in the junior high that I work in, I do. But just pray for your schools, pray for your principals, pray for the teachers, pray for your students. I love the school I work in. There's so many people that want to say bad things about the public schools. The public school I work in is amazing. I have teachers all around me that love Jesus, and it's fun. We have a great time together. But students sometimes get scared when things like that happen. So make sure to pray for your students around you. Okay, I think that's it. Make sure to answer the question. Make sure to respond to 2 people on your discussion boards. Make sure to make the font on your discussion boards bigger than this big. Remember, I'm 49 years old. My eyes will be grateful. That's it. All right, onward and upwards.